The second part, what is LST relation? So it might be, what do you call it, of 2 or 3 marks, 2 marks maybe. We write 61 again. 60 is this, so we have to come to this equation. This is rearrangement of this equation as LST equation, so which is omega of L by omega of T square by is equal to epsilon 0 by epsilon infinity. Epsilon 0 is a static dielectric constant, and epsilon infinity is a high frequency of is the high frequency limit of dielectric function, defined to include the core electron contribution. This result is the LST relation, Lindane, Sash, Teller. The derivation assumed a cubic crystal with 2 atoms per primitive cell for soft modes with omega t transverse tending to 0. We see that uh, epsilon 0 tends to infinity. Okay. A characteristic of ferroelectricity. Undamped electromagnetic waves with frequencies within the gap cannot propagate in a thick crystal. The reflectivity of a crystal surface is expected to be high in this frequency region, as in these figures. Reflectance कहिए, NaCl temperature versus wavelength. The nominal values omega L and omega T are at room temperature correspond to the wavelength 38, wavelengths of 38 and 61 into 10 to the power minus 4 centimeter respectively. The reflectance versus wavelength, okay, of LIF. So for films of thickness less than a wavelength of the situation is changed. Because of frequencies in gap, the wavelength attenuates as exponential of minus uh, of mod kx. I've seen this expression somewhere. It is possible for the radiation to be transmitted through a film for the small values of mod k near omega L longitudinal. For a for the large values of mod k near omega t, the wave is will be reflected. But reflection at normal incidence, the frequency omega L longitudinal optical phonons can be observed. The experimental values of E0 and epsilon infinity omega t are given in table 3 with the values of omega L calculated using LST relation. Compare the values of omega L by omega t obtained by neutron scattering with experimental values of epsilon 0 by epsilon infinity obtained by dielectric measurements. These are as agreement with LST relation for NAI, NA, KBR, and GAAS.